Middle class mindset. The invisible cage holding you back. We all share certain core beliefs that stem from our middle class upbringing. These ideas are deeply ingrained in our families and our way of thinking. Today, let's dive deep into what these core beliefs are and whether they're truly serving us or if they're simply limiting misconceptions. One prevalent belief is the job mindset. It's this idea that because we're middle class, we have to get a job. We tell ourselves, business, no, that requires money, and we don't have that kind of money. But is this really true? I believe that to succeed in business, you need a niche, a market demand, that your product or service can perfectly fit. Think about how Image Bazaar started. When I launched it, there was virtually no competition, or at least I spotted a significant gap. That's often how successful businesses begin. Now, if you're looking at Image Bazaar today and thinking about building something similar, you'd be right to assume it requires a lot of capital. To create all those images, develop the software, build the website, and assemble a team, you'd need substantial funds. So, where did my money come from? Many of you might think, oh, a VC or a private equity fund must have invested. But why would anyone invest in a college dropout like me back then? The truth is, the money came from the business I'd been running for 8 years before Image Bazaar. After covering my family's expenses, because I was fully responsible for them, I saved up. I then used that accumulated money and my experience to build something bigger. Here's where many people go wrong. When they think about business, they immediately jump to envisioning a massive venture. They look at these huge, established companies and then conclude, I can't do that. And they're right, you probably can't do that right now. It's like looking at Sundar Pichai, hearing his salary is hundreds of crores a year, and saying, I want to reach that level. When you're just starting out, you'd only get confused and overwhelmed. However, we don't make this mistake with jobs. In a job, we focus on the bare minimum. We think, okay, at the very least, I can get this kind of job. Or there's at least this much placement available. We look at the minimum in a job, but the moment the word business comes up, our minds immediately jump to the maximum, and we get scared. Why? Because we know people in our families or friend circles who have been running businesses for 10, 20, or 30 years and have reached a certain level. We instantly compare ourselves and think, oh, they need crores of rupees. Or they lost 2 crores last year. But to lose 2 crores, you need to have 20 crores in the first place. Where did that 20 crores come from? Did they have it 20 years ago? No. In other words, we lack a real understanding of what business truly is. It's not taught in schools, at home, or even within our friend circles or families. We just have these ingrained beliefs. When I started my business, it wasn't with a grand venture like Image Bazaar. That came much later. I began with a single camera that cost rupee 12,000 at the time. You might look at my current level and think it's out of reach. But if you could see a movie of my life, you'd see how I built everything from that initial rupee 12,000. And I'm not unique. There are countless people like me. The problem is, we only hear about a handful of startups, the 20, 30, or 50 that make headlines are only 20 or 30 people doing business in our entire country. No, conservatively, more than 10% of our population, millions of people, are involved in some form of business. But we only see the high-profile few, and that skews our perception. True business isn't about investing huge sums and hoping for a 2-5% chance of success in 5 years, followed by an IPO and thousands of crores. That's called risk capital, invested by people who know 90% of their investments will fail. Real business is about starting with a small amount, immediately rotating that money and growing it. You start with rupee 10, turn it into rupee 15, reinvest that rupee 15 to make rupee 20, then rupee 25, then rupee 30, rupee 50, rupee 100, rupee 10, 00, and so on. This is a much simpler, low investment approach to business. So, my question to you is, why don't we start small? Because it doesn't match our status. This is a fascinating and crucial point, if you truly understand it. The middle class is stuck in the middle. We don't have enough money to start something big, but we feel starting small would damage our social standing. Yet, if you're serious about business, you have to start small. If you start a business with a lakh or two and it fails, you're often left with nothing. But if you start with rupee 100 or rupee 10, there's no real loss. However, doing so might invite ridicule from family and friends. When your parents, relatives, or friends visit, they'll say, "My son got selected here. His package is X amount. What is your son doing?" Sir, even families don't want to take a leap of faith. That's the problem. You see these deep-seated beliefs we all have. We think we need a leap of faith to do something big. You need a leap of faith for bungee jumping off 1,000 feet. But for starting a small business, no. But if you do take that small step, people will laugh at you. "Sir, I want to add something. Where I am now after my BCA, MCA, and M.Tech, and now pursuing a PhD, I want to add value and do business. But there's this thought. What will society say? Starting from zero again at this stage, starting such a small business again from scratch, it's a huge barrier. I'm telling you, you're deeply trapped, and you don't even realize it. Especially with the advent of AI, the whole game has changed in the last 2 years. Why? In the past, for the middle class, the only thing that held value was education, and education was seen as intelligence. Is there anyone among you who claims to be educated in all fields, knowing and doing everything? No, your intelligence is finite, limited to a particular domain. But artificial intelligence, which I call infinite intelligence, can do anything in any field. If you ask a very senior advocate to draft a 100-page legal notice based on case details, it would take their assistant 10 days. How long would it take AI? 10-15 seconds. So, what's the value of your education now? The middle class had only one support system: education. And it's collapsing rapidly. The value of education is diminishing fast. What do you mean by education? Memorizing things. When you graduate, you're often not immediately useful anyway. So companies have to train you. If they have to train, they might as well train an AI agent. How will they recover the investment in you then? You don't know how to do business. This generation is in for a tough time. After all that studying, the white-collar jobs you want won't be available because there are already too many people, and companies are letting them go. The remaining work will be done by AI agents, so new hires aren't needed. The good jobs, by your definition, won't be there. And the bad jobs, though no work is truly small or big, you won't do them. So, what will you do? Have you ever asked yourselves this, uncles and aunties? This is a huge trap that's about to be exposed in the next few years. It's been going on for a long time. Go prepare in Kota. Get into a top college, then get a great job. But the global CEO of the very companies you dream of working for are explicitly saying they won't need coders or software engineers in the next 2 years. Yet, people keep pursuing these paths. The coming time will be very interesting. So, what is business? Let me give you an example. You have a car and you take it to a mechanic, but instead of fixing it, they damage it further. Is this a genuine problem or just something imagined? What if, in your area, within a 10-kilometer radius, there's only one car mechanic, and he's a cheat? How difficult would it be to learn that skill? Not very. You don't even need a degree. You could learn in a few months. So, why don't you learn and open your own shop? Oh, sir, what are you saying? I've done this, I've done that. After all this, I'm supposed to do that. What will my family say? My in-laws. My father will lose face. You're trapped, aren't you? And when I say this, I truly mean it. When I started my career, you just mentioned Image Bazaar as a big example. But that's much later. By then, I had already tried 8-10 different types of businesses. My first one, as I said, began with a rupee 12,000 camera. Do you think my family and friends praised me? My relatives would visit my parents and say, "What is your son doing? Why don't you stop him? He's not just ruining his name, but ours too. Look at our children. They are from this college, that college. He's just going to take passport photos his whole life." But I never cared about any of that. When I started, I didn't even know what stock photography was. I launched Image Bazaar in 2006, but until 2004, I had no idea about it. You learn to swim once you get in the water, not before. You have to start small. This belief system you have, all these beliefs, are going to trap you severely. Take it as a warning. I'm seeing something that you're not because you're busy with your own things. But I'm observing what's happening globally, and at what scale, and I can see what's coming in the next 3, 4, or 5 years. Sir, I've been working for 2 years, and I've been listening to you for a long time. I really want to get into business, but when I try to start something, I see problems everywhere. And as you said, jobs have their own trap. You get 2 weekend days off, and you think about learning something, but one day goes to rest. The next day, you start watching some videos, international ones, to understand what others are doing. But that first step, I always hold myself back from taking it. Excellent point. Now the question is, what's the reason for this? This is a very common problem. The reason is that you've understood one thing I said. get educated about business. But no education is useful until it's practical. That's why schools and colleges focus on theory and practical application, where real learning happens, not just memorization for exams. So, do we ever do anything practical? There are three types of people. 1. Those who never do anything because they're held back by these beliefs, fearful of the word business. 2. Those who want to do something because everyone desires freedom. Jobs seem great until you get one and realize there's politics. You'll ask, how do you know there's politics in my company? Because wherever there are humans, there's politics, power games, and problems. Good people sometimes don't advance, and incompetent ones get promoted. There's psychological torture too. So, inwardly, you want to do something of your own, which leads you to watch videos and read books. But you stop there. The real game is beyond that. 3. And what if I told you that today, it's easier than ever to start something alongside your job or studies? It wasn't possible before, but it's very easy now. But you might hear me say easy and think, sir, where is it easy? We struggle for a few hundred rupees, and you're saying business is easy? It's easy if you start small, part-time, and with understanding. Would you like to understand what I've learned about business in short? Watching random people's videos, listening to podcasts, and reading books. And then stopping there, that's useless. It's just a time pass. You'll feel good, but you won't do anything. You need to relate it to real life. For example, when you hear about marketing, your attention should shift from the content itself to the marketing campaigns happening around you. If you learn about product, market fit. Look at which showrooms are crowded and which are empty, which restaurants are thriving and which are struggling. Your mind should observe the world differently. It's not difficult. It's just a small shift in perspective. For instance, wherever I go with friends or family, I have a problem. Ideas keep coming to me. If I'm in a restaurant, I'm not just focused on the food. While waiting for the food, I'm observing. I see 6 restaurants in a row, and 5 are empty. But this one is packed. What's special here? Oh, they have an open kitchen. Look at their uniforms, the interior, the menu, the cuisine. This means people are coming back. See how my mind works? This can be done, so that can also happen. Each of those ideas is worth millions. Now, you might say, sir, give us an appointment. I'm not boasting here, though it might sound like it. This is a form of diagnosis that might seem difficult from afar. Like a doctor, you've consulted many, and your illness hasn't been cured for years. Then you go to one doctor. They recommend a couple of tests, diagnose you, give you medicine, and you're better in 4 days. You'd say, it's a miracle. But it's not a miracle. It's correct diagnosis, experience, and scientific thinking. In business, you need to identify a problem, one you've faced yourself, or are currently facing. Then, look at the solutions people are offering and decide which ones resonate with you and which don't. Plus, consider problems you're deeply passionate about, for which you can't find the solution you need. When problem and passion connect, you then ask, how can I solve this at the smallest possible level? Can I do it? If you can, That's how business begins. But what do? We start searching for ideas as if they're on Google or lying on the street. No, you need to understand your personality, your resources, your background, your strengths, and your weaknesses. Based on that, you can identify problems in the world. How many problems are there in the world or in your life? Infinite. So, from these infinite problems, which ones are you most passionate about? Work on those. It's not easy. For example, if you're passionate about pets, a cat or a dog in your home, can someone without a pet truly understand what it means to have one? Only someone who has one can, because for others, they're just animals. For you, they're family members. Observe yourself, your behavior. What do you do for them? You might think twice before spending rupee 100 on yourself, but you'll spend rupee 100 on your pet without hesitation, like parents for their children. Some businesses simply cannot fail if done correctly. For example, if your business idea is something bizarre that no one understands, say, glasses you wear on your head, not your eyes, but they're stylish. You try to sell the concept. Specs for your head makes you more stylish. The possibility of this idea failing is 100%. Even if you're 100% sure it will succeed. But if you have a simple idea, like the one I just mentioned, if you have a cat or a dog, target just that niche. What things do you buy for your cat without thinking? As soon as you got a cat, you probably searched a little online, and suddenly, videos related to cats started appearing in your feed. The algorithm knows, social media knows, but you're not aware of it. Have you noticed this? You buy a car, and suddenly, ads for car accessories appear everywhere. Your wedding date is fixed, and you start seeing honeymoon package ads. You join a gym, and suddenly, ads for whey protein, gym accessories, and clothes appear. The day you start understanding these things, that's when you'll know your mind has become solution-oriented. And these are the people who will survive in the new world. Everyone else will be left behind. I've said something profound here that you won't understand now, but you will in a few years. There's no choice but to develop this mindset if you want to survive. Now, let's go a step further. How many of you have a pet at home? Someone raises hand. You have a dog, a female dog. Have you ever purchased a product or service for her? Have you paid anyone for her? Sir, many times, regularly. How many problems have you faced related to your female dog? How long have you had her? 4 years. In 4 years, how many problems have you faced for which you paid for solutions? Were you satisfied with all of them? Yes, sir. Multiple. Like getting an MRI done. We don't have that machine in our city. It's in another city. So we have to travel there if she gets a disease. Consulting a good veterinarian. Multiple vaccinations that happen regularly. We get more worried if she falls ill. Right. People without pets won't understand this. Those who have them will know that if a pet gets sick, everyone gets more distressed. In fact, Mom takes more care of her than us. Right, because she's like a daughter. In modern pet shops, they call them pet parents and children. You can't say dog or cat. People will fight you asking, how dare you say that? So, you just mentioned a problem. Getting an MRI or X-ray or any other test for your pet isn't available nearby. You have to travel far. What if you opened a pet diagnostic center? Start very small. With the cheapest machine, an MRI might be expensive. But you'd get there once you're making money. Where would you start? With a very basic machine that's not available locally and is inexpensive. Maybe even second hand. The person coming for the test doesn't care if it's new or second hand. And machines for humans and animals aren't different. Many diagnostic centers open and close. They might list their equipment online. You could talk to people who deal in such equipment and buy a second-hand machine. What if you found one that costs rupee 5 lakhs in the market for rupee 50,000, or rupee 1 lakh? You could start a business with rupee 1-2 lakhs. What's the upper limit for this business? How far can it go? This is how you need to think. It's that easy. But our minds don't work like that. We look for ideas outside, as if they'll appear on Google or the street. Instead, observe your own life. There's no shortage of ideas. Now you'll ask, how do we market it? Let me tell you something else very interesting. The return on ad spend ROAS is highest for pet products and services on platforms like Meta. Does anyone here understand digital marketing? We run ads for many D2C brands, some even featured on Shark Tank. So, am I right or wrong about this category? Yes, skin care has the lowest ROAS. Anything body related. The highest is when you buy for someone else, whether it's a gift or clothing, or pet products, or for children. For children, you'll spend as much as you say, and the ROAS can be 6, 7, 8. That's normal. We were thinking of starting a dog food brand. I come from a Baniya family, so we won't feed our dog non-veg food. There's a need for vegetarian dog food in the market. I'm from Kanpur, and there are many factories there. I could source from there for rupee 10-12, build a website, and run ads for rupee 1,000, rupee 10,000 daily. If the cost per click is cheap, it means this category can scale. Let me simplify what he just said for those not from this background. His idea is that many vegetarian households in India have pets. The problem is, most pet food brands, I think the vast majority, 98.8%, contain non-vegetarian ingredients. While I don't know the exact percentage, the majority are non-vegetarian. But in many Indian households, even onions aren't consumed, let alone eggs. My home is like that. So, what's the solution for such homes? Pure vegetarian options. If vegan protein exists without even milk, why can't there be vegan diets for pets? Now, to create this product, it's not that hard. It's incredibly simple. There are people whose entire job revolves around this. If you approach them with your concept, they'll bring it to life. For instance, imagine a factory in Himachal Pradesh that already manufactures similar products. In fact, it's even easier than that. Every pet product you see has marketed by and manufactured by, clearly printed on it, along with the factory's address. You can contact them and say, I want to get this made. What's your minimum order quantity? Some factories might require a minimum of 10, 0, 0 pieces, while others might be willing to produce just 100 or 500. Let's say you order 500 pieces. If each packet costs you $10 to make, that's an initial investment of $5, 0, 0 for the product itself. Add in packaging, transportation, and other miscellaneous costs, and your total investment might reach around $100, 0, 0. This is all it takes to kickstart your business. How does it begin? You set up a shop with a website. Content creation is now fully automated with AI, so there's no need to hire a large team. Even marketing can be handled by AI. Then, you can use platforms like Meta to target your audience. You might not know who owns pets in a specific area, but Meta knows everything. Which homes have pets, which don't, and even which households are vegetarian based on their viewing habits. You might wonder how they know all this, but trust me, they do. So, what's the benefit here? In the past, if you wanted to do something like this, you'd have to open a physical store, which meant renting or buying a space, requiring a significant amount of capital. But now, all those old beliefs are being shattered with this business idea. How does this business idea sound to you? Does it seem great or difficult to execute? What's so hard about it? People spend millions on coaching for competitive exams to get into expensive colleges, even though there's a 99% chance they won't get in, meaning their money is likely wasted. However, what we're discussing now, if you truly grasp it, is incredibly simple. The chances of failing in this business are practically 0% for those who understand marketing. It might not be 0% for everyone, but for those with expertise, it's a breeze. Digital marketing isn't a problem for them because they've worked with numerous brands. It's a game to them. They can quickly create ads, campaigns, and ad sets, target specific audiences, and launch campaigns with a set budget. It starts in a learning phase and then scales up, with different ads being tested, ineffective ones paused, and successful ones amplified. Let's talk about ROAS, or return on ad spend. If their ROAS is, say, 6, and their profit margin is tenfold, it means they're selling a product for $100 that costs them $10 to make. If the ROAS is 6, then about $15 goes into advertising. So, $10 production plus $15 ads equals $25. Add courier and shipping costs because they can sell and ship across India, or even globally, from where they are. Factor in other things like return to origin, RTO, over time, and you'll get a clear picture. But here's the best part. This business model you've suggested is amazing. I can't even tell you how good it is. Let me explain. Now you'll truly understand how to analyze a business. Why did I say this business is extraordinary? Because some product categories don't do well on Meta, like skincare. You wouldn't risk using an unknown brand on your skin and potentially causing a reaction or worsening a problem. Right. You're careful with skincare. However, a segment like this, especially if it's certified, is perfect. The manufacturing associations handle all the licensing and production. Your brand name simply goes on the marketed by section. The manufacturer does all the heavy lifting, providing you with a ready product with an expiry date. You then market it across India or in specific regions where there's a high demand for such products, like areas with a large vegetarian population, such as Gujarat or Rajasthan. You can set up your Shopify store from anywhere for a mere $20, $30, or $50 a month, even if you opt for a premium plan. Now, let's consider the potential of this business. Why did I say it's so good? Because if only one packet was sold, this business would be worthless. If a $100 product sells, $60-70 goes into shipping. Plus there's RTO, when cash on delivery card orders are returned. Since COD is prevalent in India, this business would fail if the product were just $100. But do people buy only one packet of such a product? No, they usually buy at least 12 packets at once. So if 12 packets cost $1,200 and you offer a discount, selling them for $599, let's calculate the costs. 10% for the product, 15% for advertising, 15% for fulfillment and shipping. That's 40%. Add another 10% for extra costs, bringing the total to 50%. This gives you a gross margin of 50%, and the repeat purchase rate, a staggering 80%. Do you understand now? This is what a good business looks like. Even if their ROAS were lower, this business would still be excellent because of the strong repeat business. When you buy something online, there's no guarantee you'll go back. But if a product like this resonates with a child, let's not call them dogs. They might get offended, and the child enjoys it. The owners will buy it again. I'm just using $100 as an example. It could be $50 per packet, and their costs might be similar. Plus, when customers buy from them again, they can expand horizontally. They could launch dog apparel or import special items from China. Once trust is established and customer data is available, they can upsell and cross-sell, just like businesses do to you without you even realizing it, because you're consumers. Many people think that once they finish school, their education is over, and it's time to earn and spend. But that's an outdated mindset. In the future, nothing will be stable or secure. No job, no business. You'll need to constantly learn and update yourself. Your mind should be so adaptable that if you're dropped somewhere with only $100 in your pocket, you should be confident you can turn it into $100, zero, or even millions. If you have that mindset, you'll survive in the coming world. Otherwise, you're in for a tough time. Now, look at this incredible business model. What happened? The first time a customer bought the product, they paid $599. The second time, instead of giving the 15% to Meta, they gave it to the customer as a coupon. 15% discount or something free. Instead of 12 packets, they got 18 packets. What did the business lose? 6 packets, costing them maybe $60, which is still less than 15%. This is a growing market with a huge advantage. Repeat business. Only someone who understands business truly grasps the value of repeat business. A $1 candy can generate millions for a company because of repeat orders. Focus is key. You need to have a razor sharp focus for the next few years. For 24 hours a day, your mind should be consumed by this business. And you should put everything else on hold once your minimum viable product MVP is successful. Once you understand that this business model is viable, you need to pour all your energy into it for the next 2 to 4 years. This business, which might currently be generating $20, $0, $0, $30, $0, $0, or $100, $0, $0 a month as an idea, can scale to millions, billions, or even trillions. But this rarely happens because our minds lack focus. Today it's one idea, tomorrow it's another. Even now, you probably have 10 ideas swirling in your head. Right. Audience agrees. See, that's the problem. You're constantly looking at so many brands. What's another business idea you have in mind? I can tell you have a few things going on in your head. What's another idea, in short? One of my friends had an idea for maternity wear products. That's a manufacturing thing, or rather, not manufacturing. But people will always get pregnant, and it aligns with basic needs like food, clothing, and shelter. We have a manufacturing unit in Surat, so we have that advantage, plus marketing and packaging advantages. Now, I won't tell you which of these two ideas is better. You tell me. After all I've said, you should be able to figure it out. How many of you think the maternity wear idea for pregnant women is better? Raise your hands. Audience raises hands. You think so? I think the second idea, maternity wear, is also a good idea if we focus on it. And it also has a very large market segment. That's your opinion, but my understanding is different. I won't tell you why, but the second idea is completely worthless. Not just worthless, but absolutely worthless. And the first idea is amazing. Can anyone see what I'm seeing? Why and how? Analyzing the business ideas. Audience member 1. The first idea focuses on a privileged class, from what I can see. The second one focuses on India, which is a diverse country with all kinds of populations. Speaker. But there are privileged people in that segment too. What about them? Audience member 2. In the first idea, you mentioned repeat customers. Speaker. Exactly. You hit on the most important point. Repeat customers. And it's not guaranteed that they'll buy from the same place again with the maternity wear, because the customer isn't really theirs. They belong to the platform. Why? Because there's nothing unique about that product. Many others in the market can offer or are already offering similar products. It's not like pregnant women have nothing to wear already. Right. So, there's no unique selling proposition, USP. This idea has 1,000 other flaws. When you start seeing both the flaws and the strengths in an idea, and your mind works like a computer, that's when it gets exciting. Why the maternity wear idea is bad? Does anyone else want to explain why the second idea is so bad? I'm telling you, it's very bad, not just bad. Audience member 3. The first product was unique. This vegetarian dog food is a unique product, and many others are already doing maternity wear. So, because it's unique, it's better. Speaker. So, We have the repeat customer point and the uniqueness point. What else? Yes, please. Audience member 4. Sir, beliefs are attached to the first product. Vegetarian families will want vegetarian products because it aligns with their beliefs. It becomes a necessity. Plus, there's a huge innovation factor there. In other words, the product sounds easy to crack, but it won't be that easy. The company we'd ask to make it for us, like, what is protein? Essentially, a combination of essential amino acids. Some amino acids form protein. Whether it comes from a vegetarian source or a non-vegetarian source doesn't matter, as long as it's a complete source of protein. Like khichdi has some amino acids from rice and some from lentils. When mixed, it becomes a complete protein. It doesn't matter if it's vegetarian or non-vegetarian, as long as it's a proper, complete protein. But there's a big problem in this business. Will the child, or rather, the dog or cat that's used to eating non-vegetarian food, actually eat this? This needs to be cracked. It's not as easy as it sounds. If the child doesn't eat it, the product will be returned, leading to a loss. So, this needs to be figured out beforehand. The bigger and more unique the problem we solve, and the better we solve it, especially with repeat customers, the greater the opportunity. In other words, a task that not everyone can do, that sounds easy but isn't, is often the most rewarding. What's difficult in the beginning becomes easy later, and what's easy in the beginning becomes difficult later because of competition. The power of marketplaces, that's why marketplaces are so powerful. Do you understand what a marketplace is? It's where sellers and buyers meet, like Amazon or Image Bazaar. At Image Bazaar, we have thousands of photographers, our contributors, who shoot and upload images to our platform, which we then sell. Creating a marketplace involves solving problems on 2 levels. It's like the chicken and egg dilemma. Until there are customers, photographers won't come. And until there are photographers and images, customers won't come. You have to solve both problems simultaneously, which makes creating a marketplace very difficult. But once it's created, creating another one to compete with it is almost impossible if it's functioning well. The harder a business is at the beginning, the easier it becomes later. We launched Image Bazaar in 2006, almost 19 years ago, and we still have a monopoly, not just in India, but worldwide. Is that clear? Now, consider the other idea you mentioned, maternity wear. There's no entry barrier whatsoever. Your product would sell based on the next best alternative. And the next best alternative is places like Sarojini Nagar, where you can find similar items for $200. You're talking about Delhi, but every city has its own equivalent of Sarojini Nagar, a local market where the product you're trying to sell for $1,000 will be available for $200. Why? Because they bought it for $150 and can sell it for $200, making a $50 profit. They buy bundles of 5,000. If you want to sell online through Meta, you need a tenfold margin. You'd have to buy something for $150 and sell it for $1,500. How would you sell it for $1,500? 100. And even if someone buys it once, why would they buy it again? Thousands of people are already doing this. Firstly, there's high competition, so your ROAS will be low. ROAS, or return on ad spend, will be a maximum of 3 to 4. If they sell for $1,500, it'll be 2. This means if their product sells for $2,000, $1,000 goes into ads. What's left? Do you understand the game now? This is how you look at a business. Developing a business mindset in a matter of seconds. If you can see a business's trajectory for the next 2, 5, or 10 years, that's what a right vision is. Even if you don't have such a vision, you can discuss your ideas with those who do. Why be egotistical? You must know someone in your family or friend circle who genuinely understands business. Go and ask them. For those who know nothing about business, both ideas are equally bad. Or in fact, everything is bad. Audience member, sir, there are higher probabilities of failures in life. And on this route, this is also a barrier. How to face society at a time when that is very difficult. Speaker, that's an excellent question, but failure is never final. Every entrepreneur knows this. You're saying failures happen. I'm saying failures are bound to happen at every step. We're discussing something now, but when you go out to do it, you'll encounter thousands of problems. That's what business is. It's like saying, I got married, and then we started fighting. What do I do? Fights are inevitable. If they don't happen, that's the problem. Audience member, at a time, society doesn't support you, but only your family supports you. Speaker, it's not about support. It's about whether the risk is so big that you'll need support. For example, you're talking about failure. Failure is a kind of accident. There are 2 kinds of accidents. One where your car gets a slight scratch. You get some paint from Amazon and fix it. Or you don't even bother because the car still runs. The other is such a big accident that you need lifelong support. Why did you drive so fast in the first place? Do you understand what I'm saying? It means we didn't understand what I said. We took a big risk, and things spiraled out of control to the point where we needed support. Why do we need support in the first place? I've only taken money once in my entire life, $12,000, and never a single rupee from anyone else. So, I don't know why support is needed. It's only needed when we take such a huge risk that we're left with nothing. For example, taking a loan against your house. If you lose your house, you'll need support, right? So why take a loan against your house? Are you a seasoned business professional who can take such a big risk? Even if you are, you shouldn't. Controlling greed. This is called controlling your greed, which is also a skill you must develop. You might think business is only a problem until it becomes successful. No, the real problems begin when it becomes successful. What's the feeling? What's the rush after that? Only someone who does business understands. Something starts racing inside you when you see $200,000, $400,000, $500,000 coming in monthly. You then feel like, if I do this, I'll make $5 million. And what happens in that pursuit? You lose everything. So, You need restraint, just like when you drive fast and enjoy it. But you know you have to stop at 80, the speed limit. If you know that speed limit, you won't need support. There are multiple reasons why we fail. We have to keep trying different ways as long as there's potential in the business. Don't give up on it as long as you understand that the problem is real, not imaginary, and you have a proper solution for it. You just haven't figured out how to reach those people. Communicate with them, explain to them, convince them, or tell them that this is the perfect solution for their problem. This is called product market fit. Once you achieve this, the business will be successful. It's that simple.